All right, all right. Hello, everyone, and now welcome to a game, Labyrinth versus Running. This game taking place here on Autumn Leaves. Labyrinth spawning as, well, the green undead player on the top right-hand side of the map. Hailing from Korea. Meanwhile, Running spawning as the human player on the bottom left-hand side of the map, hailing from what I believe to be Hong Kong or Hong or Shanghai, depending on who you talk to. Anyways, let's go ahead and break things down in this 1v1 matchup. Human over here on the bottom left-hand side, it is going to be going up against Undead. And I really like how Autumn Leaves has played out as a map. It's one of those maps where you have to try and know how to play on it and play on it well. Back in the day, players had tried to take this forward expo early on, and then there was, well, attacks from beyond the trees. So that's why they've added in this little lake here, making it difficult to, well, use tree ants or flame strike or anything of that nature to be able to put pressure in from the back. Now it seems like more players are trying to take their natural expansion here, which is actually further away from them, but also is further away from their opponent. So they're not expanding towards the middle. Thank you guys for all you guys' support, gifted subs, super cheers, all things of that nature. Yeah, job hunting in 2024 has been a little bit of a quest. Much more difficult to get started, and it's been about 20 years since I've had to look for a job. And because of that, you know, the expectations, trying to learn all of those things, and trying to be a self-promoter in this day and age of social media awareness. You guys are probably well aware that I try not to draw too much attention to myself, just focus on the game at hand, and how wonderfully it is being played and has stuck around after all these years. Labyrinth opening things up with a Crypt Lord first. There's going to be a scouting footman. He wants to see the hero and does see that Crypt Lord first. Meanwhile, Archmage is actually going to go after this 5-4-3 creep camp. Water Elemental going to be doing a little bit of tanking. Meanwhile, the Militia going straight after the Trapper and that Forest Troll Berserker, two very high damage targets. While getting cleaned up because they have a medium armor. That Sasquatch, that tankier last unit there, gonna end up being finished off here. Will give level 2 to the Archmage. As I said, it was a 5-4-3, not a 5-3-3 creep camp. Meanwhile, on the top left-hand side of the map, Labyrinth has gone after this creep camp here, and oh, what a difficult spot to be in, surrounded by the gold mine, the ziggurat, and a whole bunch of additional units. Perhaps skeletal minion and or beetles popped up, trapping that footman where he is. Well, due to infinite knowledge in WarCraft 3, that footman doesn't have to return back to give a scouting report. Well, all information was given back to Running. So Expo on the top left-hand side of the map, most likely inbound Ziggurat gonna summon up a Nerubian Tower. Hello, thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in. Always glad to have viewers, as it is, well, a definite reason why I am casting. All right, Archmage, Claws of Attack +5, coupled with a Ring of Protection +4, and perhaps a chance to get to level 3. 5-4-3, literally, as Ogre Magi going to get cleaned up here. Ogre Magi will give level 3, I believe. Meanwhile, what is happening here? There, you see a couple of ghouls trying to wander around, and they're actually perhaps going to be looking at the expo here and notice that it was not cleared out. The Militia are not setting up an expo. That was just a pure leveling attempt, trying to gain experience on the heroes and then perhaps put in pressure with level 2 water elementals. Tech to tier 2 is already a third of the way through, as the Archmage wants to put pressure in on the main base now while keeping pressure away from his own. We can see that tech to tier 2 not started because Acolytes will be needed to transfer over to that top left-hand side expansion. 2 Nerubian Towers are down. This Nerubian Tower just now getting done here as Footmen are getting ready to put in pressure onto that Archmage. Archmage does have, plenty of mana for an additional Acolyte. Also, the Archmage could, hide himself temporarily and drop a third water elemental. We know how dangerous those water elementals can be early on, especially that level 2 variety, as the Archmage is backing himself into a corner, trying to stay alive here. All right, there's some more pressure. Beetles are getting cleaned up. Acolytes could get taken down. There's Dust of Appearance. Archmage going to be forced to use a Scroll of Town Portal. And great pickup by the Crypt Lord, noticing that the Archmage had a Cloak of Shadows and opted to buy a Dust of Appearance from the shop. This is something that is not often noticed by undead players. Normally, you only buy that Dust of Appearance versus, say, well, obviously Night Elf and perhaps the Orc because of that Blade Master. Archmage picks up a tome here. Tech to tier 2, nearly done. No blacksmith. Well, no, excuse me. Blacksmith is down. We could be looking at Rifleman now getting added into the army here. And we should be looking at Arcane Sanctum now for the healing. Now, building up a single Arcane Sanctum or even 2 Arcane Sanctums, generally the Arcane Sanctum with the Brilliance Aura on an Archmage is enough. Is enough to provide proper healing throughout the matchup. Meanwhile, Archmage not going to be coming across here, putting in pressure. Water Elemental now down. There's going to be one ghoul lost in transit. Perhaps some other units could get lost as well. Archmage is sitting at nearly at level 4. Same thing for the Crypt Lord. Both sides. There's the abolish onto a Water Elemental, and that gives level 4 to the Crypt Lord. Crypt Lord with a plethora of items and in a massive impale across 3 units. That could be a huge supply swing. No, the units are retreating back. The Forestral Berserker Archmage separated from the rest of the units there. With Impale and Dust of Appearance, that does not look good. Meanwhile, the Mountain King comes out across, throwing with 1 and with 2 more bullets in the chamber. Has to be careful here. That's too large of an army. 22 supply versus 22. Mountain King could be in some major trouble. Are we going to see the Forest Troll Shadow Priest perhaps getting cleaned up here? Stormbolt onto the Forest Troll Shadow Priest. Yes, does find it. And now in comes, well, trying to finish off perhaps some more of those ghouls. Footmen, Riflemen continuing the battle up. Priests were not getting trained up in a time. They're actually healing up some of the peasants back at home instead of getting some heals onto that Mountain King. I believe that Mountain King had plenty of opportunity to try and clean up. Are we going to see enough damage? Oh, beautiful deny there by LabyRinth, getting in that Impale attack. One ghoul could end up getting taken down again. Yes, LabyRinth is just denying experience, not realizing that the Archmage is so close to level 4. All right, summoning up some more units. Archmage going to try and retreat back. Priest is right there. Should automatically be trying to heal. Mountain King now out. And even at just level 1, could be enough to offer a little bit of protection. Here we go. There's a little bit of healing. That Rifleman down to 99 hit points. Level 4 now onto the Archmage. Level 2 Brilliance Aura, absolutely key to keep this small army of priests topped off on mana, since a lot of damage was already taken. Now, LabyRinth's army looks very large, but if you look at the composition, which is incredibly important when you're looking at armies, you can see that most of it are just summoned units. There's only 1 ghoul left there. The rest are just beetles and skeletal minions who will be who are easy to take apart once those priests get that adept training. We are getting up a mortar team or workshops as well. Fly machines, perhaps mortar teams, as the expo on the top left by LabyRinth is getting fully operational. That is going to be problematic. 41 supply compared to 29. The priest in here really has no business being this far in. And meanwhile, are we going to see some, dispel magics against these units here? I thought that would have been some easy calls. There goes another carry-on beetle able to escape away. Mountain King sitting at level 1. Archmage sitting at level 4. No real level up here, as Running is going to have the opportunity to heal up nicely and perhaps try and make a bit of a move. Mortar teams need to get added in. 2 mortar teams, perhaps up to 50 supply. Militia also getting called over, so we could be looking at perhaps an attempt to take down the expo, as this many militia are already being called off to the north. Is there any workers? Yes. 1 worker left on that supply there. The militia trying to run out across the map. Things are not looking particularly good, as the Archmage dropping in some water elementals. All right, here we go. Archmage, mortar teams could easily get picked off as they're heading off through the battlefield as well. We are sitting at 47 supply, need to get up to 50. And now in comes the Mountain King trying to clean things up. Halls of the Dead already trying to tech to tier 3. Militia now bringing up the rear as well. And what is going on? The Crypt Lord sitting at level 4. The Tomb of Relics easily going to get taken down. Death Knight going to be joining in on the battlefield. And here we are. Here in comes the peasants. And the peasants are now building up those towers, which we expected. Stormbolt onto the Death Knight. Death Knight comes out only to, well, find himself in a little bit of trouble. Ghouls now trying to make their way out. There goes a massive impale across so many units, all lined up, ready to get taken down so easily. Now, Mortar Team can have some problems as well. The Mortar Team cannot be standing still against all of those ghouls. Needs to be careful. There's a, I believe there's a scroll of healing used right there, but that Mortar Team was just outside of range. Stormbolt onto the Death Knight. Death Knight could be in trouble. Death Knight going to be dead as the Archmage now makes its way back over after those ghouls. All right, Scout Tower trying to be repaired. That's a lot of damage you can see onto all of these peasants. Again, Mountain King, Archmage, no more scrolls of healing. Another impale could be enough. Taking down that Tomb of Relics was in fact a big deal, as the Criplord no longer has that mana stone it had earlier. One Mortar Team continuing to lob here. Peasants perhaps should try and retreat back. Priests are just topped off on mana. The peasants need to get closer. They do not want to end up feeding experience to that Criplord there, as the Criplord is going to line things up, and that's going to be a bunch of dead peasants if he's not careful. All right, Criplord going to try to line things up. There you go, picking them up. A couple of peasants taken down there. One Mortar Team still lobbing attacks here. Riflemen needing to get off that damage, as we're looking at the Halls of the Dead down to 900 hit points and getting repaired by an Acolyte. All right. A ghoul going after this unit there. All right, Priest going to get impaled down, as well as a handful of priests, or only one priest is left here. Rifleman trying to pick off some of those units. Mortar Team trying to retreat back. Priest is dancing a little bit of a dance, going back and forth, perhaps going to be able to heal himself up as the Mountain King finds a Stormbolt onto a ghoul. Low hit point Mortar Team trying to retreat back here. 46 supply, and still putting in pressure. All right, that low hit point Priest down to 89 hit points, needs to back away, needs to heal up. There's an Arcane Vault getting built, as we're looking at the Acolyte, who is doing a lot of repairing, should get shut down here. Double Obsidian Statues just hiding in the back. That's a tough spot to be in, as we're looking at more damage getting added in. Priest now fully healed back up. Only one Priest amongst all of these units. Meanwhile, Criplord is still back here. There's some more Mortar Teams coming in from behind. In comes the ghouls. Is that one Mortar Team going to get shot? No, he is not. Claude, no, he's not. The ghouls is simply running by, as there is Yobor engaging here. Mountain King now up to level 3, Stormbolting onto a beetle, just trying to pick off any unit that he can, as priests are getting in more heals. There goes another impale there. That could be problematic. The Mortar Team trying to finish off some of these units again, as there's a potion of invulnerability now onto the Criplord. Criplord still staying alive for now. Priest trying to retreat back. He's going to get taken down by the Obsidian Statue. Scroll of Town Portal, forced retreat there. Mortar Teams down to 51 hit points, down to 35. Able to back away and perhaps continuing to lob those attacks. 37 supply compared to 36. Water Elementals trying to put in pressure. Mortar Teams able to get in damage onto the Black Citadel. Black Citadel needs some massive repairs in order to stay alive. Meanwhile, Archmage is here to deny that. Mountain King perhaps get in a Stormbolt or two to finish off a ghoul, and we're still fighting their way through. More damage coming back on. Black Citadel putting in a pressure. There's some more lobs attacks. Riflemen trying to put in their way. Double Mortar Teams here, able to get in more attacks, as the Black Citadel about to get taken down. 3 more lobs perhaps is going to be needed, as the Acolytes are still heavily repairing here, as the Priest able to retreat back. All right, no more Black Citadel. I don't know, well, that means that there's already an Orb of Corruption here. Riflemen, Priest still fighting their way. They're going to continue in the lob. Mountain King in trouble, down to 181 hit points. He's going to try to retreat away. There's a Stormbolt down onto the Criplord. Mountain King perhaps going to try and run to the shop, perhaps pick up an item, and he is going to be able to buy a potion of healing if necessary, if he has the gold. Archmage able to finish off another Obsidian Statue. Abominations are out on the battlefield, but no, that's going to be the only Abomination now, as the Black Citadel is now gone. Riflemen still making their way through. Mortar Team is trying to dance back around the other way. Archmage getting in a little bit of pressure, as the Mortar Team's able to regroup together, and another Mortar Team and another Priest shows up to the party. Main base of LabyRinth completely destroyed right now. The Mortar Teams are able to take down some of the Ziggurats, perhaps take down another Slaughterhouse if they're quick here. Mountain King is going to be able to Stormbolt anything, perhaps take down some of these key buildings. Mortar Teams getting in front of the Labyrinth's Obsidian Statue to ensure the kill. All right, Arcane Vault down across here. Mortar Teams cleaning up buildings, and that is, I guess, the story. Because LabyRinth went for Cryptlord first, didn't have access to single target nuking damage to try and pick off these Mortar Teams. by doing, I don't know if running was actually prepared for this, but by recognizing this, running was able to keep those mortar teams alive long enough in order to put pressure on to the main units. All right, Acolytes trying to make their way down. Mountain King, Water Elemental, going to perhaps get summoned up. Priest, Mountain King should be stormbolting some of those trailing units, not doing so. That is a grave mistake, as the Mountain King does need a scroll of healing as well to try and mitigate the damage or neutralize the damage from that level 3 Impale. All right. Last thing you want is a level 3 Impale coupled by a level 3 Death Coil, finishing off any of these easy buildings. Mortar team's going to be well protected strategically in the back line, surrounded by trees. Very difficult to get to. Riflemen going to be able to perhaps drop here as the Water Elementals, well, Destroyer form already done. Is that a Black Citadel? That's a Necropolis. No, so, well, Destroyer form was researched very early on. Both sides still fighting through. It looks like, well, Mortar team's getting cleaned up quickly. Meanwhile, Stormbolt finding an Abomination, and that Abomination finds himself amongst, well, surrounded Riflemen trying to pick him off quickly. The Mortar team's all cleaned up now, but was enough damage done onto the buildings for the Riflemen and the Priest to pick off the remaining important buildings. No more Slaughterhouse means no more Obsidian statues, no more Destroyers, and until that Necropolis takes to at least Halls of the Dead, it's going to stay that way. Meanwhile, on the bottom left, we are looking at, well, still 5 minutes of mining here. Destroyer trying to retreat all the way back, needs to regroup. There's one scout tower just keeping track of, well, what's happening in the old base. LabyRinth is in some serious trouble, needs to figure out a way to get out of this sticky situation. Meanwhile, there are enough Acolytes out on the battlefield to perhaps try to summon up some new things. Running is looking to set up an expo perhaps on the bottom left here to maintain his advantage. Flying Machines getting ready to engage against those Destroyers. There's still one Obsidian statue left. Mountain King going to turn back around. No, the Riflemen need to go after those ghouls. There's a massive Impale. Need to see a Scroll of Healing. There's a Devour Magic. There's that Scroll of Healing to, well, mitigate some of that damage. And here we go still. Ghouls getting picked off. Mountain King could continue to pick off more and more of those units, getting in a bash or two as well. There goes another Ghoul. There's another Scroll of Healing. More Dispel Magic. Mountain King up to level 4. Level 6 now on the Crypt Lord. And level 6 on Crypt Lord means we could be going for Locust Swarm. Flying Machine about to get taken down. Yes, gets taken down by the Destroyers, as the Destroyers were able to get some mana because of that Devour Magic onto those Water Elementals. Both sides still fighting. Summoning up Water Elementals, a little bit of a dangerous proposition. Are we going to see a Stormbolt onto the Crypt Lord? Crypt Lord actually just getting body blocked out of the way. Mountain King trying to catch up to the Death Knight. Death Knight taking down to 162. A Stormbolt should finish it off. There he goes. One more shot, and the Death Knight falls at level 2, nearly level 3. If it had a level up right there, that would have been actually rather scary. Stormbolt finding the back of the head of a Crypt Lord. Rifleman going to go ahead and try to go for the surround here. And there is a surround. There goes an Impale. There's some more Devour Magic. Are we going to see that Rifleman getting taken out? Perhaps there's another summon, and the Crypt Lord Potion of Invulnerability is going to be used in time. Yes, it is. Stormbolt, not enough. And this surround, Crypt Lord down to 99 hit points, long enough. Mountain King Stormbolting it again. Gets up to level 5 now on the Mountain King. Mountain King, with that Potion of Mana earlier, able to do and get the job done, as the Mountain King looks to perhaps shut down an Obsidian statue or two, looking to hopefully get a lucky bash against these units. Archmages trying to get the attack, but the Destroyer able to get away. Mountain King, well, there is a bash right there, trying to clean things off even further. What else can happen? No mining here. Flying Machines heading off to the north. It looks like Running has this game, but we've seen stranger things happen. Destroyers still coming back around here. No easy way to bash down those Destroyers at all. Priest taking a little bit too much damage. Mountain King wants to get into that spot, perhaps take down those Acolytes. Mortar teams need to get added in. Death Knight and Crypt Lord both resurrected at the tavern, so plenty of gold. And now, well, we're back in this game here. Mountain King is getting Brilliance Aura, is getting mana, which is incredibly important. Trying to finish off any more of those units. There goes a Stormbolt onto the Death Knight. Death Knight low on hit points, low on mana. Not going to be able to really finish off if he does try and give chase here. Flying Machine still trying to reach critical mass, but remember, 2 Flying Machines versus 2 Destroyers, that is not a fair fight at all. That is 10 supply versus 2. When you look at it, all right, Stormbolt now onto the Crypt Lord, Archmage or Mountain King low on mana, Archmage now up to level 6. Are we going to see level 3 Brilliance or no? Mass Teleport, not sure if I agree with that. We are in the closeout of this game and every bit of mana matters so much more. One priest down, second priest about to get taken down as well. He gets taken down, no more easy healing as the Mountain King could use a little bit more mana to try and focus down that Death Knight. There's a bash there. Death Knight down to 91 hit points. Mountain King is going to be able to Stormbolt. He has the mountain mana for the Stormbolt. Is he going to do it? He is not, losing track of the fact that he had the mana to Stormbolt there. Crypt Lord now down to 636 hit points, and we're still looking at things starting, well, perhaps unraveling for running, losing a couple of key units there, trying to win out this battle. There's some more water elementals here. The Crypt Lord could be in trouble, down to 307. Mountain King could use a little bit more mana. Again, we haven't seen Mass Teleport used once, and that is always the situation that you have to consider. Meanwhile, the Crypt Lord down to 254 hit points. Mountain King low on mana. Yeah, mana is the name of the game right now. Mana, the most important resource. Obsidian statues using their mana to give the Crypt Lord and the Death Knight Potion of Invulnerability dodge. Once more, as water elementals trying to clean up some of these other ground units. We do not see Locust Swarm. We in fact see level 3 Impale and level 3 Beetles, as the Mountain King wants to get to level 6 as well. Gonna try and finish things off. There's dual water elementals. That is a very heavy damage here. That's gonna be one easy dead ghoul, another easy dead ghoul. Mountain King should be beefy enough to kind of survive this onslaught here, but there is no priest. You remember that. There's no priest here at all, and we're gonna see Mass Teleport to try and escape, and a beautiful Mass Teleport to get away. All right, Mass Teleport coming in handy there, being able to get away. But remember, no priests were not being trained up. That is one thing that I am surprised about. But first of all, the Riflemen and the level 3 water elementals being able to consistently focus down ghouls and other units while so much attention was being directed to the main. Meanwhile, we see an Expo now trying to be established here. Running should have set this up a long time ago. You can see LabyRinth is still mining, has a and is now taking the tier 2, so he's in an okay spot. Not, I wouldn't say great by any means, but he's in an okay spot right now, especially as running is not going to be able to add much in the next coming minute or two. The timing of the next attack is going to be the key thing here. Mountain King shows up, can just easily Stormbolt after one auto attack. There's a Stormbolt there, finish off another ghoul there, and now the Archmage going after perhaps an Acolyte or two as well. Necropolis taking quite a bit of damage. Oh, remember, only 1,500 hit points on that Necropolis, being forced to not upgrade as Acolytes still need to be trained up here. Meanwhile, on the bottom left, we can see full saturation on this gold mine. Running has gotten back on his feet, getting that economy going once more while shutting down LabyRinth's economy as well. All right, we're going to see Mass Teleport as the Necropolis about to get taken away just as the Mass Teleport takes the units units back home. A beautiful, beautiful play here. Archmage, Mountain King, level 6, level 5, Rifle Caster, only 1-0 upgrades on those Riflemen, and this was all off of one base, but the timing of the attack and the use of mortars were absolutely key. Archmage looking to run around. Love your cast, keep up the great work. Gonna keep going as long as, well, there are enough viewers. Crypt Lord heading way down now. Flying Machine trying to act as a deterrent. Priest still coming in with the heals. Archmage does have a Scroll of Healing. Mountain King has 2 bullets in the chamber, needs to go for 3. And, well, an interesting, weird predicament to be in. Whenever the Archmage is shadow melded, the Mountain King doesn't get manas off of Brilliance Aura. All right, in comes the fight. 44 supply compared to 28. What's happening here? Archmage is trying to back away. Mountain King continuing the battle it here. Rifleman getting cleaned up. Militia need to join in on the fight here. Archmage is trying to retreat back. There is another Impale. Archmage could be in trouble. Down to dead. now Crypt Lord sitting at level 7. There's a Stormbolt onto the Death Knight. Death Knight could be in trouble. Death Knight going to use Potion of Invulnerability in time. And now the Mountain King doesn't have enough mana. Mountain King trying to run back around the corner. Perhaps break free from here. Mountain King has enough mana for a Stormbolt. Gets up to level 6. But is it going to be enough? Mountain King kind of caught between trees and surrounded by ghouls. Meanwhile, constantly getting here. There is some Dispel magic against all of those units as you see the beetles fall as the ghouls are still fighting their way through. That's a lot of casters here. Army supply, 13 supply compared to 36. Mountain King trying to stay alive. The Crypt Lord could still cause some serious troubles. Mountain King still dancing back around, but because of the heals from the priest, should be able to outlast this fight. Down to 130 hit points, down to 108. Actually, I'm not sure. The Orb of Corruption removing some of that precious mana. Mountain King being forced to retreat away, getting healed back up. Death Knight now showing back up as well as the Mountain King. Is he going to Stormbolt? No, it can't Stormbolt. Stormbolt's onto the Crypt Lord. Crypt Lord down to 172. Who's going to end up winning this out? Level 4 on the Death Knight. Mountain King falls at level 6. Crypt Lord falls at level 7. And now, resurrecting at the tavern was huge. Army of flying machines there. Priest trying to get away. Perhaps getting damage onto the obsidian statue would be the key thing here, since the obsidian statues have heavy armor. Mountain King back out. Bash. Lucky bash onto the Death Knight. Death Knight now trying to get away. Priest still have plenty to heal here. Fly machines still keeping overhead. Mountain King needs mana as the Mountain King tries to chase down that Death Knight. All right, couple of locations out across the map. This is funny. If the Mountain King actually accidentally runs by another tavern here, Crypt Lord getting resurrected. This priest trying to get away here. Is he going to be able to shoot down that ghoul? And now we are still seeing more damage. Priest low on mana. Deathquail finding a Rifleman. Mountain King still sitting only at 40 mana as the Rifleman trying to get away from this Crypt Lord. Crypt Lord with Boots of Speed able to easily catch up. All right. Death Knight sitting at level 4. Mountain King chasing, wasting precious time. Meanwhile, bottom side down to 9,000 gold. Please go do your breakfast. Okay. Oh, you ate already? Oh, okay, you're fine then. Yes, it is. Archmage resurrected at the tavern. Now back out onto the battlefield and running with this gold mine here on the 4 o'clock spot seems to be okay. Crypt Lord, Death Knight, Skeletal Minions making their way through. Flying machines overhead. Mountain King now has mana. Archmage is ready to push on in. There's a Stormbolt straight up onto the Crypt Lord. And with that, LabyRinth gives the GG. Knowing once that the Archmage is back out on the battlefield, the Mountain King is just going to have too many bullets in the chamber constantly and running, outlasting his opponent, even though resource-wise, mining 4,000 gold less. Let me know what you guys thought about this game in the comments below.